Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and today is Monday, June 11th, 2018, and I'm with my gal pals, my posse, BZ Rieger and Lisa Flamino Resch.
Hello.
Hey, ladies. And so we haven't seen each other in a bit. But when we were together the last time, I happened to mention something and we thought, oh, we'll talk about that next time. So I'm kind of excited because I've actually collected some more experiences behind that since we first talked about it.
And it's kept happening, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's because it's continuing. Mm-hmm. I happened to mention in passing to the two of you, in between recordings last time, that I thought I was experiencing enhanced taste buds. And, you have one banana and it tastes really, really, really good. And you tend to think, oh, I got a good banana for a change. But by the sixth or seventh banana, well, not all in one sitting, but, or, the melon, that we've had lately. And then I experienced going to a restaurant and having, we tried something new, a rice dish, and it was so tasty. It would just, so it's like it, but it's continuing. Not all things. I had a processed food, a cookie, which, gives you a momentary thing, but overall, not the same.
True that.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a matter of fact.
So that made me a little sick, the cookie.
I was going to say, the body didn't care for that.
No.
Yeah, my body's starting to tell me no. Right away, even. So I'm thinking, because I've also had some other experiences recently, that this is all a part of what is happening.
I'll make a programming note right there. So we'll stop right there. Okay. Everything, you're talking about the banana, and we'll pull in, she and Lisa's in a moment about the pizza being ordered and showing up and forgetting she's spaghetti and all that kind of, since we're on food metaphors here.
Okay.
It's all related. We are now in the, it's all, is that this? Is this that? Or are we, is the same thing? Yeah. Yeah. And it's, another simple shorthand is, so the banana is fully flowing in the river of love, and, it's like inhale, exhale, and then the pizza ordered to stuck to your eyeball is, the fully flowing, same, it's actually all good because it's the flowing out of the stuff that we don't want. So Lisa, since people are going, what?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the pizza stuck to your eyeball?
Sure. Well, I was doing the deep inner work, and I have been asking to be shown what's holding me back. And I have something I'm working on, and then for days I felt horrible. I had all of these negative thoughts just swimming around, and I couldn't seem to get rid of them no matter what I did. Because I forgot. I asked for them. And when I woke up to, oh yeah, wait a minute. These are messages for me. and wrap my arms around them and love them and thank them for showing up and sticking to my eye. So I couldn't see anything but those.
That's right. They're right.
Yeah, they were right in there. So yeah, today I recognized why I was feeling so poorly. And then I realized, oh, wow, I created that. I asked for it. I received it. And then suddenly I felt fabulous. I felt on top of the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, and what it's very akin to we want to, in the old energies you would have said we want to manifest something, and it's in the old days because it's a linear term, it has nothing to do with where we are now. But
Right.
And there'd always be various examples like, yeah, you picked up the phone and you ordered a pizza, and then you forgot you ordered a pizza, and you said, well, I'm hungry, let's go out and get a time. And so because we're so impatient, we're so not tuned in, we're so not listening to what it is that we're creating. So when you said that, I thought, yeah, you ordered a pizza which stuck to your eyeball, and you were mad because you really thought you had ordered, or wanted to get spaghetti.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I think the swirling of spaghetti came to mind because you said a storm was coming in, and there's something in the air. There's a change you could say change on the wind. There's a change in frequencies, even more so than there already have been, and they're up-leveling even more. One of the things I think that is fun so kind of the half of when you're thinking of the tasty banana, you are swimming with the river and it's flowing. And when you got the, part of the slice of pizza stuck to your eyeball, you're actually in the same river. You're actually going the same direction down the river. You can't see as well in Lisa's example. But as soon as you acknowledge and remember, right, what it was you asked for, show me, hence the pizza stuck to your eyeball, show me. Okay, but it doesn't any good to show you if you're not acknowledging, because otherwise what people do is, well, I really feel bad, or God, everything's so frustrating, or all these things keep coming up, or everything's breaking down, and I just don't get it. And so you go off worrying and spinning on these things, which does what? Creates more of that, because you're giving your attention, your focus to it, and instead of integrating and going, right? Yeah. You're making more of it. You're making it larger, and actually, even though it's a very circuitous route, you're actually pulling more of the stuff out from underneath you and letting it float down the river. But since you have not cognized it, so you haven't become present with everything that's going, it's the rougher road.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So are we then saying, as I feel for myself, that, it is a valid perspective to not recognize it and just keep having it smack you in the eye, if that's the thing? Because I've done that a lot. So I got a lot of experience with that. Ready to let that go now. Mastered that pretty good. But it's still that sitting with and that accept, okay, yes, I see that, and thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm doing a lot of that myself. Mm-hmm. Because there does seem for me to be a lot of things coming up, but being able to sit with them and say, oh, okay, I see what that is, and thanks for showing that to me, and then releasing it. And I'm starting to actually do get a little thing now. I do to release it, and it feels really good to do that. So
nice.
And I'm going to stop you there for a moment for a program note. So no correct book, no correct video, no correct standing on one leg with your toes facing east southeast, by 10 degrees to get it right, because you did. So that's a really great acknowledgement of you are the expert for you. You are the one who has the most amazing manual for you. And same for Lisa and BZ and all the other yous out there.
Well, I have always said for a very long time, if anybody ever tells you they got all the answers, run, because they don't. I'm sorry.
Right.
That's just the way I feel about it. Nobody does. And that's what I think that might actually be. Once I personally, and believe me, this took a very long time, trusted myself just a little bit, just a little bit, to know what was right for me. Because, there's all this bravado. Oh, I know what to do, got all that. But no, that wasn't really so on the inside.
Right.
But until I started doing that a little bit more, I was still casting around looking for, what's the right way. And that's just it. As far as I'm concerned, there is no right way.
Well, no, because how many beings are in Source's multiverse, right? And how many perspectives and, how wide is the different apertures in everybody's camera lens that they're going through, whether they're in body or not in body. So now you have all the right ways. Yeah, you bet. There are bazillions on quintillions on, whatever the next couple of numbers, hyper squared on that are, because there are so many beings. And yes, there can be some similarities. Yes, it's helpful to make connections and to share things. What you'll realize, though, it isn't if it's a book or the specific words or something, depending on how you're coming into contact with it, whether it's in person or through some kind of medium or media. It's the energy that you're connecting with that's very helpful for you, because it helps you tone and tune you're toning what is coming out of you, what you want to give voice to, even if you're not saying anything, even if you're just seeming to be receiving the information from reading a book or watching a video or whatever it is, right? You are toning that because your energy vibrational field has come into contact with this information. And so you are actually, whether you're conscious of it or not, are doing a whole energetic process where you're actually commingling with that energy. And so that's you toning in and out. And as you tone in and out and then tune into what that feels like, how it's landing when you're listening or taking it in. Again, don't get stuck in the different words, because it depends what, and they're all actually fit no matter what kind of way that you're experiencing it, because you're multidimensional. You're also multisensory, so you're going to take it all in that way. And so when you do that, then you can tune your resonance meters, your frequencies even better, so that you will know what feels right for you. And then you can, it's like you're, I don't know why I'm staying on the cooking metaphor, maybe because I haven't eaten yet, so I'm hungry, but so it's like you're gathering different ingredients.
Yeah.
So when you come into connection with, this video or this book or this radio conversation, whatever it is, okay? It's so, and you go when you're doing the connection. So you're tuning in and you're toning out and you're immersed in this, and you go, oh, well, that's an interesting ingredient, or that's a nice herb, right? Now I like the fragrance of that. Oh, that gives a nice little zesty kick. Okay, well, that's good. And now, so you're kind of building this recipe that you want to create and experience and really savor out of these different things. And so they're ingredients. And you're then now mixing them with your energy, and you've created something incredibly different and beautiful for you. So you are then the expert for you. Then that is the right way in that moment experiencing and expanding on, and it could be expressing and expelling as well in that moment for that thing. That's how it works. So the idea of tried and true, the idea of, a step-by-step process, the idea of all these kinds of things are all linear. Mm-hmm. There's not the way it works. And so by grasping at that and trying to grab at those things, it helps us go in the river in the direction we want to go. It's just an awful lot harder to get there.
A rough ride.
Yeah, but noticing that helps a lot.
Well, I hear my puzzle piece collecting metaphor in your cooking metaphor just then.
Yeah.
For me, that's because I will say that of anything I've ever adopted in my own trajectory of what I've been doing, that puzzle piece collecting metaphor has worked for me. I mean, I think that was the beginning, the opening, being open to looking at all of these things and realizing for me, that pieces of things don't have to buy something all the way. Mm-hmm. This is actually Burger King. And you can have it your way, and you can take what you like and leave the rest. As, the other thing that was very helpful for me was the will and the word of I. Mm-hmm. As there's a portion of that writing that talks about how perception is actually privacy. Mm-hmm. And when I felt into that actually explained, for me, it explains the whole separation, the reason that, even though we are ascending, if you will, that telepathy works so differently for all of us in different ways. So of course it's always going to be different because each one of us perceive differently, take in differently. That's why. And there's no need or reason for me personally, nor anybody else, feel, I can't get it because I don't understand what they're saying. And I don't, that kind of stuff. Because that's where I used to feel, really coming into contact with the two of you ladies. Lisa first, of course, being getting the information or accepting the information that it was okay for me to pick and choose and figure it out, that I am the expert myself, because Lisa said her book would be, a couple of lines, figure it out for yourself, because that's the best way.
That's really the only way.
Well, and in truth, I think that's the case, because I would bet money that anybody that's following any program out there has adopted stuff on their own, whether or not they're admitting it to anybody else. Right. And they've left things out that they didn't feel comfortable with. And that is the best way.
As I said, too, you talked about the puzzle piece and that being a good guide for you. And the other thing to think about is that, and we've talked about, there's one video where you were, I think it was one of the last times we were smart and you really danced in the video. And you had been wrestling with something and he was front and center and showing all of his moves, dance moves. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it had to do around puzzle piece collecting. And it had to do with needing to change something. And so the read of your energy and the look on your linear face and, smarmy going, pirouetting in the background. And I said, well, you don't have to give up the moniker of being a puzzle piece collector. So you're just a multidimensional or quantum puzzle piece collector now. And I was nudged to remind you and all of that moment, but also these are multidimensional puzzle pieces. So when you have a puzzle piece, I'm just going to use this. So this is a puzzle piece, right? And you got it from a video, or you got it from a conversation on the street, however you got it, right? And you have other puzzle pieces that kind of prompted you to go and have this connection. So you got it. But because it's a quantum multidimensional puzzle piece, it actually will shift and morph once it comes into your morphogenic field, your personal field. It will shift and change so that now it properly aligns, because it changes shape, or it changes color, or it changes its frequency, however you want to hold that. And now it forms a picture over here with these other puzzle pieces. Only it's complete in that moment, and never complete because it's all potentiality for the next, however, because you are already changing. So the moment that this comes and it shifts and goes with this, right, and it fits, oh, wow, look at that, okay? Wow, I got it. So now that's all changed, but you have changed. So in essence, all of these puzzle pieces don't make any sense anymore because they go back to potentiality again till the next one comes into contact with it. It's also completely done and perfectly done in that moment.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right place to mention this, but I can see that too, because I shared with you that in the last week now, I've read Magenta Pixie's first book, and I'm halfway through the second one. And I have to say, her use of metaphor and it's been very helpful. Let's just say that the explanations that the 9 through her are bringing forward in regards to multidimensionality, all potentiality, and all of that has been very helpful as well. Of course, for me personally, I've had a lot of prepping for this series of books now through my conversations with the two of you. So I'm not certain. Well, I won't even go there. I'm feeling it's very cool, I want to say. And it's been very helpful as well for me.
And the other thing is that it's all metaphor. Mm-hmm. So if you're familiar with how the nine have different ways in her videos and stuff where they'll kind of signal that this is an out and out metaphor, like, they put up a big flashing sign and, kind of like that. But, and then other ways where, it could be, you could see it as actual detailed descriptor of something and metaphor. It's all of that.
Right.
And I'm thinking of this in particular with Magenta because she's mentioned some people who have, written comments and so on and so forth, and frustrated because they're hearing something and then they take it whole cloth. So they take it as a pen will come in, it will fly at an angle to the western sky at 2 p.m, and, lollipops will sprout out of it and you'll be transformed. And they're like, well, what happened to the pen and the lollipops and the transformation? Because, I'm still waiting and it's 4 p.m, and what's the deal, man?
Where are the lollipops?
Right. So it's all, and I'm using that ridiculous one so you can, to hold it and not mix metaphors, but they're all metaphors. And going back to that coming into connection with something, the metaphor will then have a different, each metaphor has a bazillion, we'll say, facets to it, or reflective surfaces to it, because as each being comes into contact with it and tones and tunes into, so this whole kind of energetic thing that's going on, it actually shifts and changes for each one of those beings. And now let's say, okay, so a couple of those beings listen to the same, taking again magenta and the 9 for a moment, and they listen at the same time, maybe not in the same place, but they listen, and then they got together and they want to talk about this one they just heard. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like eyewitness accounts for something just happened. You can have 9 different accounts with 7 eyewitnesses, and because it's the perspective of where they are.
Yes.
So to tie all that into the banana and the pizza, right? This moment, everything is very heightened. And and here's a pun intended, it's crystallizing all of the salient details in each one of us, whether it's something that we need to then notice, okay, this is a nugget, time to release this puppy. And wow, okay, this is fantastic. This is going to go in my whole concoction that I'm making right this moment. Mm-hmm. And so it's also crystallizing because of all the crystallization that's occurring within your body and the plasma energies that are flowing in, because we keep up leveling. Because even, and here's a kind of a programming note, some people may feel hot and bothered, some people may be frustrated, some people may be on the, well, it's not working, or I don't know my mission, or whatever. And the news flash is that whether you know it or not, are cognizant of it or not, understand it or believe it or not, you're all doing an amazing job, because we keep quantum up leveling even more than, and this is again perspective because it depends how far and narrow you're in, than we thought we were supposed to or expected to, even though none of those things really exist, and every actually one of those things exists in great detail. So we've gotten further and faster and wider and brighter than ever thought possible, ever imagined, ever on this particular journey for this groundbreaking thing that we're doing right this minute in all sources universe. And so that's your proving to yourself how great a job you're already doing. And still not seeing it is kind of going back to Lisa's, well, you ordered the pizza. And when you say you're not seeing it because this is crumbling, or you say you're not feeling it because this is ouchy, or whatever it is, that's slices of pizza that you got stuck to you and you're not looking at it. And as soon as you look at it, the pizza in this metaphor dematerializes, and the amazing tasting banana shows up. Right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, this wouldn't be complete without a question, because I just heard one. Okay, so not happening for me personally, but I know that it is happening as I see it happening in in the fields of others. Is it absolutely necessary for a person to do the inner work, the asking to be shown, in order to, let me see. It would seem that there are beings who've made choices or not, unbeknownst to, me, but I'm hearing the question, do you have to do the work? Can't you just jump over there? What's the deal? I don't really understand what the work is. I don't want to do the work. I just want the good stuff.
Okay. Cool. So, you could conceivably not do the work and just jump to the good stuff. And trying to think of a good metaphor to paint here. Kind of like a combination between Star Trek, where they're in the it's not gonna they're in the transporter, and there's a transporter malfunction, and all of their molecules are kind of beaming, and they're showing, oh no, we're losing them, and then you could be mix that metaphor with a big, amazing, super high speed altercation on a highway, on the Autobahn, like 120 miles an hour, and rubber flying and metal screeching and all sorts of tumbling and so on and so forth. So yeah, you could conceivably come through those two combined metaphors the other side and go, wow, no, what a ride, okay. I'm ready. You could conceivably do it. You also could conceivably have where you don't ever die, so that's cool. But this particular vessel is sheared apart from all that because because not wanting to do the work, which is your work for yourself,
yes,
is an energetic frequency, vibration, and neighborhood. And so, and there's nothing wrong with not wanting to do the work. That's great. It's really a great thing. You're just not ready by your own proclamation. No one's saying, well, you're a dunce and you got to go in the... That's bullshit. That's all linear, hierarchical, false construct matrix stuff.
Right.
So if I don't want to do the work, bravo on you. Okay, great. So you're on a planet and all of this is going on and that's your choice. And so that's the adventure basically that you have chosen. And so there will be amazing things along your ride. I'm not certain of the outcome. Is it possible to go, as you said, and just using the question you gave, Sheila, to arrive and enjoy the fun stuff? There's a possibility of it, absolutely, because you are in the field of possibility and you're a creator being.
Yeah, I can see that. There's all potentiality. So yes, it would be possible.
It would be incredibly likely on all sorts of scenarios from all sorts of perspectives that it would be one hell of a ride that may not land you where you think you want to be with what you sat there not doing, in the meantime. Like if you're in a Barca lounger and you got a red shirt on and blue jeans and, polka dot socks, because that was comfy, and you're just going to kind of sit there and then the light changes outside and you go, oh, I'm there, My guess is your socks will be left someplace because they blew off your feet a few iterations back. And, again, all to use metaphor. So the just not wanting to do the work is a choice. And it's a frequency. And it's a frequency neighborhood. And it's indicative of where your frequency is. And that frequency vibration, that predominant frequency signature that you're holding and the neighborhood that it's in is not compatible with the expansive 5D frequencies and above. It's not compatible.
Right.
So in that sense, and again, you're infinite. So you can't say, or at least I'm certainly not going to play that way and say, you can't get there because, yeah, sometime in your stretches of infinity, absolutely you can get there because somewhere along the line, however that is, you know, you will construct a different adventure and a different choice, and that's where you'll flow. But from a linear perspective, from a linear narrow focus, just going with energy frequencies and how, again, think of radios and bandwidth and all that kind of stuff, they're not compatible.
No, they really aren't. And the energies that are pouring in now, when I was experiencing the fun time I was experiencing, swimming around in these very limiting thoughts, my body could not handle the energetics.
Yep.
And it was going into panic mode and overwhelm. And I could see where anyone not working with the energies could be dismantled by them very, very quickly. So it really, to me, is the only option to work with it so that I can, you know, go with the flow instead of being run over by it. and that is an option because I did that for a couple of days. But after a while, I decided that's not how I want to do it.
Right.
So I'm going to face everything and I'm going to make room for what wants to express itself because it's very strong what's coming. There's no negotiating with it.
Right. So would you say, I think I'm feeling nudged to take a moment to step completely out of quantum and just talk, you know, Sheila's phrase, balls to the walls, another person, oh, I can hear my ear, you know, flat-footed, however you want to say it for a minute. So first I'll start that by asking Lisa, would you say that my metaphor of the transporter malfunction and the accident in process on the Autobahn is a pale description of what one might encounter?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, and you can go through all of that by virtue of choosing to just not do the work and sit in the parking lot, and you will get to where you have chosen to go. Absolutely. It will be very different than what you thought because you've chosen by your energetic frequency offering, not by the linear, I don't want to do jack and I'm just going to, you know, when they send me the paper, it says, oh, and look at the New York Times says we've gotten there to the fifth dimension. I'm just going to walk out. Well, okay, first of all, the New York Times won't be there publishing in the fifth dimension, but that's that's a whole other thing. So from just a purely linear perspective, if you're the expression threading the eye of a needle, so you've got a needle. It's not going to show up on camera very well, but you got a needle and it has a small eye. And if you're not able to configure your energy to the size of that thread to go through the needle, you can push it and stuff it, but strips of the thread that are too many, I don't know, nanoparticles wide will shear off so that it can fit through.
Yes.
Or the eye of the needle will break, because what you're trying to put into is stress the thing, and that will then just let everything dissolve and collapse because it doesn't have that pathway, that vehicle to go through. Or you keep missing, you know, if you ever threaded a needle, and depending on how good your eyesight is at night,
Yeah, that's
you know, you're looking and you got this thing and you think, and what's fascinating is you're looking at it and you think, okay, and you've sliced the thread so it's got a nice pointy tip. You wet it a little, you know, and you're pushing it through, and you look and you go, oh, I got it this time, I got it. And you carefully go through, and you're like, but I know I got, right, you know. So all of those actually are great metaphors for the, you know, that frequent, just to use one example, that frequency vibration of not doing the work. So yeah, can you still go through all that process? And you are eternal. So the spark that makes you who you are, your soul won't die. The other thing that's interesting, even from the linear perspective, your soul is not the one choosing to do jack. Your higher selves are not the ones choosing to do jack. Do we know who's choosing to do jack? Who?
That would be each individual's smarmy.
There you go.
I recognize that.
There you go. Yeah.
I have to tell you that Smarmy has actually presented himself in a visual form.
Cool.
And I would like to jog some memories out there. Does anybody remember the animated series regarding going through the human body as a kid? It was like ABC After School Special. His name was Timer. He was very long, spindly leg with a long nose and a top hat. And no, okay, well, I will have
Sounds
to
interesting, but no.
I will have to find the visual to share, because yes, that's similar to how he is presented now visually to me, which was I found very interesting.
So when the being who Sheila connected with, who had this question, and you had that being or any other being and having different questions, so ask, who's asking the question? You know, if someone's asking a question, well, can you do this? Who wants to know, can you do? Mm-hmm. Who is asking the can you do question? So I'll take me and play for a minute. So I'm kind of hinting at and pussyfooting around. I'm asking Sheila this question, and she asked me that, and I'll say, well, I heard somebody talking about it. Okay, well, who heard somebody talking about it? Well, so and part of that avoidance is because it's the ego lower mind, and all of that is dematerializing in this process to be transformed into the higher mind. So again, to try to tie it all back, one of the reasons that, and lots of people have mentioned, sorry, it was someone sending me a text actually about the deliciousness and really quite magicalness of strawberries that I handed them today.
Oh, do tell.
Oh, perfect.
that I'd grown. And I've never tasted anything like these before. So when I text back, I said, they kind of go with all the hundreds of butterflies you see all of a sudden around here. So that's one of the reasons that people are encountering these things. You mentioned the bananas and those kinds of things. We just had someone who mentioned the strawberries. The light is very different. The light has this amazing quality to it that's very different. And depending on who's perceiving it, they'll have different descriptions of it. And as Lisa mentioned, after she was done playing with the pizza that was stuck to her, and she, started to tune in back to all of herself and watch the storm coming, it seemed very different than the qualities that a lot of storms have, because all of that is changing. We're at one when each being is in those moments, and some stay there all the time. Some just kind of, for the moment of eating the strawberries or whatever it is, are there for a moment. But because the new earth is not like here, and we're going to go to it, or the person in the Barca Lounge is going to get transported while they do Jack to this, right? This is in us. It's in us. We are it, because it's all energy. It's all frequency. So when someone who may not know much about all the things that I'm talking about, although they know on a level, because sometimes I'm thinking of one person in particular, I talk to this being about these kinds of things, and they don't go, huh? Or they don't go, what do you mean? Or they can almost have the next parts of the conversation that might naturally flow if they were well versed in talking about quantum and all this kind of stuff. Even though from a linear perspective, they're not right here, Sheila would say, in their understanding that they're there. Right. So the strawberry or the banana or the light, just as a few examples, what you're doing is you're noticing, you're connecting, you're fully being, at least for that moment in time, eating a fifth dimensional new earth banana. Eating, being present in, absorbing and connecting with and playing the energies of the new earth, because they're within you. So it's an inside job, and you create it. So you are actually pulling out the higher frequency of the banana and have actually changed the field of the banana to have it materialize in your field at that moment, which is a new earth field. And so you both are the kick-ass creator being eating the new earth banana right at the same moment. So that's metaphor, and it's solid.
Right.
It's specific.
You can taste it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, me too, actually. And the excitement in the air has been just for me personally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we create just what we give voice to. So if we're waiting, we create that waiting. And unless that energy is in a expansive 0 point energy where there's all pure potentiality. So we're doing whatever, we're doing all sorts of things, and we're also holding the space, and in that anticipatory yet non-attached 0 point space of waiting, whenever, when that shows up and those energies align, yahoo, I'm going to go right in. I don't have to do anything else. Just go. But if we're not in that space, excuse me, the waiting actually keeps repelling whatever it is that we say that we're waiting for. So you will be continually, eternally, and forevermore waiting in the waiting of whatever it is you're waiting for, until you change your frequency to then materialize what you said you were waiting for. So will do the same thing. Instead of the word waiting, then, not doing the work. It's the same. It's a good metaphor for that energy frequency. Mm-hmm. And so you're not doing the work, not doing the work, not doing that. I can't wait to, not doing the work. I can't wait, whatever phrase that you're parroting. And yes, absolutely, you're doing a magnificent job of always being in the not doing the work, not doing the work, not doing the work for eternity. Whatever that means. And the space beyond, which is an energetic frequency space that you create, will always remain there in potentiality of, get there. So this is the not doing the work and the get there place. And yes, they're absolutely there. Never to come into contact with each other, but they're always here. And the moment you shift the energetic frequency back, wow, look, it's there. So that's how it works.
Well, that certainly would seem to be how it's working for me. So yeah. I'm going with that one.
Yeah, and you can prove it. You can prove it to yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Easily.
Yes.
Yeah, we keep doing that, don't we?
Yeah. Are you done proving that to yourself yet?
Well, I'd like to say yes.
Yeah.
But just the moment I do.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. I'd like to not eat those words. So
Well,
I'm going to say that is the trajectory I'm moving towards.
Right. And so I had some interesting experiences this weekend that actually kind of are a good metaphor right this moment. So I'll see if I can crystallize them down to the point of that metaphor. So I was away at an agility trial with Keegan this weekend. And there are things that at an agility trial that occur, that come into being, that never come into being in existence anywhere else in Keegan's life.
Okay.
It's all energy. And so, you might think he was a snarling, teeth gnashing, werewolf from, I don't know, the 20th denizen, whatever, because of the amped up energy and all that. So anyway, so there's this thing that he does, which elicits a thing that I do, and this dance that happens, and then you have the judge and the rules and the trials and blah, blah, blah. And in the last trial that we went to, it actually caused him to really hurt himself, a near career-ending thing. So that added into the mix. And so you could metaphorize all of that is a big ball of soup of smarmy potentiality waiting to want to come and dance in all certain ways. And there were certain moments where I could watch myself and Smarmy and Keegan and Kink and Smarmy, and then the collective that was this event's, Smarmy. And yet I could be not at all dancing in it. I could watch this. And I could take different, lines of dialogue in my part of that and just watch it with fascination. And realize that was the pizza that I'd ordered. And I was sitting there eating my banana while I watched all of this and said, yeah, no, that's great. I'm good with that. And the banana is my choice. I don't need the pizza, right? And move forward through it. And the reason I bring that up is because it was fascinating. So I could be, part of me had an energetic where it was right on the edge of thinking about being fully immersed in that vibrational frequency over there. And I stepped to the door and I thought, yeah, well, I could stick my toe in there. And but I was able to view it from my broader perspective and go, no, I don't need to do that. And that shifted all the other things. Now, it didn't shift it instantaneously, but over the course of the 2 days, it did shift it dramatically, and it shifted in not only internally within me, internally within Keegan, but it shifted it from, so there was that proofing, and the proving from the external, from things that the judge and other competitors and other team members, you know, all of those things came to be. And so the reason I point that out is that these, and it's interesting because the way I set up that metaphor is that this only happens, this is like maybe 1% of his life. You know, if this is a dog that's a great dog, a really, you know, high vibration dog all the time, except for this one particular thing in this setting. And then he goes fully linear, you know, fully like a teenage mutant ninja, I don't know, snot-nosed kid, and you think, oh my God, who would want that dog? You know, kind of a thing. So that it happens, and these are pockets. And what this is another thing to show, to clearing. So, you know, even though I don't think I gave verbalization to what do I need to see that's holding me back, but I'm sure somewhere along the way it did. So anyways, I put it there. But the beauty of it is when you can orchestrate it in a certain way, I actually also gave opportunities for any being who had requested the same kind of thing. We were the ones that were acting that out for them to look at. You know what I mean? So that they could see it. And so it was we were the reflective surface that they could then have their own parts that they were, whatever they were playing in that met. There were the same energetic frequency to that reflected back.
Yeah, I actually, while you were sharing that, that took place for you, it called to mind something that I experienced over the weekend myself, and similar, and it changed, but my not reaction, I would say my response to how it was totally different. And that shifted something within me. It's something quite huge, I feel. I'm not quite sure what all just yet, but I've been watching that. So stepping up and seeing that you're about to, or for me, that I was about to step my toe in to a frequency vibrational neighborhood that I no longer like to play in or wish to engage in any way, shape, or form. And then actually giving myself permission, because that's kind of what it amounts to, for me anyway, to say, no, I'm okay. I don't need to do that or react or respond or whatever. I don't have to engage in that.
Right.
No matter what anyone else thinks, feels, or says, this is my choice.
Right.
And so releasing the, what's everybody else going to think, and all of that kind of energetic, and just saying, no thanks, I'm good. This is what I prefer over here, and not be concerned about that, because that was always a part of it in some portion of my linear thinking. And at any rate is, whether I wanted to admit it or not, there was always some of that, which some of that is kind of new for me too. So It's just very interesting to, I've never really allowed that prior. So,
Awesome.
interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
you're the creator of what's going on, and you have invited a whole bunch of other, beings in there with you, but you steer the ship, because that's your reality. As soon as you go unconscious again, or stop directing, or however you want to hold the metaphor for that and language it, and you go with the pull of what someone else wants you to do when it's going against you, you're actually now have popped that, because no one is doing anything to you. It's your free will choice, and you are at cause of all of this. So once you do that, you've popped them fully into your reality, and you have shifted your reality down to a much more constricted energy, frequency, vibration, because you chose to do it. And they're often, they don't really matter, because how you interact with them is in your reality, dictated by you, because you are at the effect of all that. You're the causing the genesis of all of that.
Exactly.
So the and what I'm about to say, please don't misconstrue that somehow I'm thinking, one should be rude and pushy and all those kinds of things. But a lot of the polite constructs that we have in the thing, if someone invites you to dinner, it's rude to not eat something they've served you because you're at the table, even if you don't like it. Well, I'm not sure why this particular one came up, but I'll run with it. I could never see that. I mean, that always horrified me. I mean, I'm a very good cook and love to have connections and conversations and, gatherings of people. And I would be absolutely insulted and horrified if anyone ever came to connect and play with me and sat down and ate something that they didn't like, didn't want, because somehow they thought it was being polite. I would be gobsmacked. And to me, because that is just such a dishonoring of that connection, of that breaking bread, of that sharing. But yet it's a really ingrained in a lot of settings, cultures, however you want to say it, where that, and it's a really beautifully illuminated picture of just what the false construct is, of kind of purporting to be one thing and being something totally different. So anyways, I just use that as a metaphor for you're making the choice. If you want to eat someone's thing at someone's dinner because you don't like it, but you're claiming to be, polite and all that kind of stuff, you chose. It's same thing with your energies and what you're creating in your reality. And right now, every moment, is those choice points. And they're coming faster and faster and faster, and you're getting multi-dimensional, multimedia, multi-moments in each moment things where you're needing to sort and shift and winnow through. So to go back to the being who's sitting in the parking lot, who's not going to do the work, they just want to get there. It's like, going through, if you were taking a video of a New York City A train on express, as it goes through speeds past all the pillars that hold up the tunnel of the thing, that's what's coming at you.
Yeah.
And it's not just coming at you, it's going through you. You're a whole being and energy field is immersed in all that. And as those things fly by, it is shifting and changing, and those pieces actually are fine. But because of that choice that you've created, there could be, you know, body parts that are sticking out of the train car. They get sheared off. There could be house parts. There could be family parts. There could be job parts. There could be financial parts. There could be all sorts of things. So there may be this little tiny, you know, skeleton that shows up at the other side, you know, that once was this, you know, being, right? I just gotta put a little levity on it, right? You know, so.
No, I love it. I love it. I saw.
But it's entirely possible.
I'm sorry. The visual that came to my head was Jeff Dunham's puppet, that Ahmed little skeleton guy. I'm sorry. I'm getting, yeah, the one that couldn't visualize anything is starting to visualize it. Yeah, okay.
Which is fun.
So we've metaphored people all over the place, and I hope they had fun.
Yeah. I know I did.
Well, I always did say these conversations are for me. Everybody can tune in. I hope you enjoy it, but they're really actually for me.
So between the awesome banana and the pizza stuck to your face, like
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you ladies coming and talking with me as usual. And as always, there will be links to both Lisa and BZ's blogs in the Show More section of this video, along with the information of how to join the Friends of Conscious Conversation Facebook page, Central Facebook page, and how to get in touch with me if you so desire. And, you know, feel free to comment as to what you're experiencing. Are you experiencing pizza stuck to your face when you actually ordered spaghetti, or you decide you forgot? Or are you also experiencing wonderful tasting things? And
yeah, strawberries and bananas to beat the band.
Yeah, but oh yeah, I was going to share that I'm getting the opportunity, hopefully, to go organic strawberry picking tomorrow. I'm excited. So I will be tasting wonderful strawberries. So thank you guys. Till next time.
Thank you.